Hello friends, this is Miro and welcome to my channel. Today I have a bit of a different video for you. Mars Hydro reached out to me and they wanted to know if I would like to review one of their grow lights and a grow tent. Now because this is a free LED light for me, of course I said yes, I would love to. I mean, who doesn't need an extra LED light in your home? Maybe someone who has a conservatory or a glass house, but I certainly do. And because this is an actual grow light, I did want to test it out. If you remember, several months ago, I did make a video how you can use regular LED lights instead of grow lights to grow your plants. And in that video, I said that I don't really believe that you need LED grow lights for the plants. You just can use the regular LED lights that you can purchase in a hardware store. Now, in the next 3 months, I would like to see if I'm wrong or if I'm right. Are regular LED lights enough, or do you actually need a grow light? I would also like to say this is my first time encountering an actual grow light, so I have really high expectations here. Now, it is important for me to tell you also that they did not sponsor this video. They sent me a free LED light so I can review it, but I'm free to say whatever I like. I can have positive or a negative review, and I'm not gonna give you a review in this video, but in 3 months. So I decided to grow the plants in the tent for 3 months. First of all, I wanted to see if grow tent is something that is necessary, and I wanted to see the progress of my plants. Now, to be completely honest with you, the plants that I chose for this project are quite challenging for me because of the lack of light. I picked some very high light vivacious orchids, and there is one orchid there that I particularly struggle with. So I wanted to see if I can get it to grow a bit better under Mars LED light. Some of the plants that I chose are not so difficult, and they actually did really well for me under the regular LED light, but there are quite a few plants that kind of struggled under the 36 watt LED light that I have, especially the Vanda. It's my nemesis. It's just, sometimes I don't know, it's like a cockroach. It doesn't want to die and it doesn't want to live. We don't have a very good relationship. That's what I'm gonna say. It tried to kill me once indirectly, but I figured it out. It was an attempt on my life. This is a 150 watt LED light. It is 35 by 35, I think, centimeters, and it covers the area of 90 times 90 centimeters. So that's quite a large area. The tent that they chose to send me is 70 by 70, so I expect it to perform really well in the tent. Also, another thing that I would like to say is that I do not keep the tent fully closed. The reason for this is because if I did, I would have to put a fan inside, and currently I'm really not willing to invest in a fan and to figure out how to get it in there. I think this is just enough as is. I have a couple of IKEA shelves in there and about 50 plants. I didn't really count, but I think that's the number. And I keep adding each day more. I really think I have an issue. I don't know why I keep adding plants. Since the tent is open, I don't think it will be as effective as it could have been if it were closed, because then it would have 4 reflective sides, and now it only has 3 reflective sides, vertical sides, and of course one on top and the bottom, but not much reflects on the top. So part of the light escapes through the opening, but of course I wouldn't be me if I didn't decide to use this. So I did put some low light plants outside of the tent, but because there are shelves around the tent with additional LED lights and the windows are quite close to the tent as well, I guess maybe this is like medium light, I'm not sure. Anyways, I did put some plants around it to see how well they will do. What I do already like about the light is the color. I'm absolutely in love. I think I spoke to several people and I keep fangirling about the light and about the color of the light. It looks like you have sun in your room. It's very pleasant color. As you know, all the lights that I already have in my room are 6500 kelvin, so it's cool white, and this light is around 3000 kelvin, so that is a bit of a warmer color. And of course, besides that, there is some red in there as well. I'm gonna attach a bit of a graph here from Mars Hydro's website. You can see we have warm white light, which is around 3000 kelvins. We have white, actually blue light, that is around 5000 kelvins. There is the red light and infrared light. If you remember my previous video about LED lights, 6500 kelvins is cool white or blue light. I said in that video that it's possible maybe to combine to put another LED there that is maybe warmer so you can mix the colors. And I mentioned in that video actually that in grow lights the colors are mixed. So you can see here there is the warm white, there is the blue light, there is the red light and infrared light. What my eyes can say is that the light looks very natural. It kind of looks like sunshine to me, but maybe that's just me. And now when I look at my other lights, my cool white LED lights, I can actually see the blue color. Before they looked very normal to me, but now when I look at them, I can kind of see they're bluish. So that's very interesting to see. Of course, my plants do really well under the regular LED lights, and to be quite frank with you, I'm not sure if Mars didn't send me this light that I would actually purchase it. The light that they send me is TS1000, and this light is around $140. The price varies a bit depending on the region in which you are. And to be quite honest with you, I do think that $140 is a lot of money. I know this is entry-level grow light, so this is quite affordable when you compare it to other grow lights. But to me personally, $140 is a bit of money. So I would like to know, is it really worth it? Is it worth it to get one of these lights? Because for $140, I could get 4 or 5 regular LED lights. So I want to know, am I getting my money's worth? How many plants can I grow and what will be the difference? The light itself has a dimmer. I currently keep it at 75% because the light is just too bright at 100, and the plants are also in this grow tent, which is also very reflective. So I keep it at 75%. I have to say that when I turned it on, it was closer to the 0, and it's, you know, it's bright, but as you turn it towards 100, it blows my mind, to be honest, how bright this light is. And the reason the light is so bright is because there are 342, I think, LEDs in there, and it is about 22,000 lumens. So my regular LEDs, my 36 watt LEDs, are around 2,800 lumens, and this is 22,000 lumens. So this is almost 10 times stronger than my regular 36 watt LED. And this is something that you can expect from LED grow light. They say that this 150 watt light is supposed to replace a 250 watt HPS or HID light. In 3 months, I want to make another video so I can show you the progress of the plants. I intend to take a very detailed, or well, reasonably detailed photo diary of the plants and how they progress over time. So we can see what will happen in 1 month, in 2 months, and in 3 months. The plants have been in the tent for about 5 or 6 days. So of course, nothing will happen in 5 or 6 days, or nothing significant will happen in that short period of time. But what I'm already noticing is that they need a lot more water. And this is normal. There is more light in the tent and the temperature is higher. Temperature in my room is around 22 degrees Celsius, but in the tent it gets up to 25, 26, 27 at one point. And I have to say that in the first couple of days, the humidity in the tent was lower than it was in the rest of the room. And it's still slightly lower. For example, if the humidity in my room is around 70, it will be around 55, 56 in the tent. I do think this improves when you close the tent completely, and I did actually try that, and I was able to get the humidity to be higher. But then again, I told you I don't really want to put a fan in there. I think I want to keep the setup as is, and to be honest, I do want to use that additional light. The light itself doesn't have a fan, so it is quiet. I don't hear any buzzing. Some of my regular LED lights, I don't know if it's me, if I'm crazy, but there is like buzzing when you listen to them. But this one, I don't hear any buzzing, which I quite like. Sometimes it gets annoying when I hear my regular cheap hardware store LEDs, the small hum or buzz that they have. I did try to record an unboxing for you, and well, I can say it didn't go the best. Will I know how to open this? I don't know. They specifically said not to do this. I mean, how do you cut the tape without doing this? Is there a way that I'm unaware of? Probably. See, this was logical to use this hand to cut and the other one to hold. So how else would you do this, right? This is the inside of the box of the tent. So we have a user manual for the tent. Peek window so you can creep in. You know I'm gonna do that. Caution. Please follow the installation steps. I shall. What is this? What does it do? Is it a sticker? We have the 5 shiny reflective things. Maybe you can make a tiny tent. I don't know. Wouldn't that be cute though, to make this big of a tent? We have the strap for whatever reason. We have the thingies that will make the tent construction, the smaller ones. So the larger and the smaller ones. So that's straightforward. Where is the tray? Oh, is this the tray? Oh, okay. What have I done to myself? I think this is the tray. I guess that is the floor tray. I just expected it to be a plastic tray. I don't know. We'll see. Assembly instructions. MacLeod floor tray filter straps. So those are the straps, the filter straps. Where did the filter straps go? I don't know. Okay, so you're supposed to assemble the framework first, and then place the tent horizontally for some reason. So we can do that on the desk. Cover the tent frame with the cloth and then place the tent vertically. Okay, this sounds easy. It's like learning the alphabet. We have G and an E and a D. A, B, C, D, E. Where's the F? What's the F? We don't have an F. We do have an F. Where is the F? F goes into the G and E. Oh, okay, so we have an F. These look like they are the same length, but it's supposed to... Let's find an F. Are you an F? You're an E. I found an F. You put G into the F, and then you put a D to each end. I'm assuming this is not how you put that. You put one of the corners in there, so you put a D, A, B, C, D, E, but another D goes here. Let's please get this right. Let's make a shape that is... Am I doing this right? And then into the D, you will put E's. I had an E. Where's the E? Here's the E. I'm pretty sure this is not how you should assemble this tent. Does this make a good angle? It is a good angle. I have no place to record this. So I will have to rearrange all of this. I think we can try to record in front of the shelf there. See you in a moment. I am gonna continue. Where was I? D went into something and they went... Okay. I think I need an E. Okay, be stable. Be stable. I'm starting to think this wasn't the best idea. F-A-G. Oopsie. Ah. Ah. And this goes in. So far, it is looking that everything will work. That's what he said. And one more. That goes into that side. I'm pretty sure this is a bad idea. I'm currently stuck here. It said just slide it in. I'm gonna tell you, it's not working out. For me, it's not just slide it in. Okay, so I'm gonna try. I cannot really record this step because, I mean, I'm supporting it with my back and I'm just trying to slide it in. Send help. I have found myself inside the tent. This is where my music video will be recorded. And I am just trying to get this on. It's a piece of cake. Piece of cake. Mars Hydro, not single people friendly. I did assemble the tent. I did sweat assembling the tent. I'm very sorry. Grow on Earth. Grow with Mars. The user manual. I think I'm just gonna plug it in basically. So this is how the packaging looks like. Let's try to slide it out without breaking anything in Miro. Are you supposed to remove this? Is this in the instructions? Yeah, that did not go as planned. I do have to admit I had a bit of difficulty assembling the tent. I think it's because the space that I work with here is quite small. It's narrow. There are plants everywhere, so there isn't much space to assemble the tent. I do think you need quite a bit of space to assemble it properly. And I also had a bit of a challenge attaching the light. Different hooks are used to attach to the tent construction, and different hooks are used for the light itself. The hooks that are for the light itself, you have to press very hard. And I have to say it was a bit challenging for me to get them on. I'm not a weak person. I do have strength in my hands, but it was just a bit difficult to get that on there. And I do know some people who don't have as much strength in their hands, and I'm just wondering if they would want to use this light. I think that would be difficult. I just don't see the reason, except for the cost, not to use the same type of the hook. So I think that there is room for improvement already there. I would just use a different type of hook that is easy to get on there, because once it's on, it's not going to fall off. And you shouldn't need to press that hard. And just a quick note on the instructions. It was again a bit difficult for me to figure out how to attach the light, or how to attach the hooks to the pipes of the construction. I had to look up a couple of videos to figure out that you need to loop it around to get it on there, because the hook itself doesn't fit on the pipe. And that was my first instruction, to get the hook on the pipe, and that didn't really work. So you have to loop it around and attach it like that. But of course it works out. That's something simple that it's very easy to add, I think, in the instructions, and it will make the entire process much easier. Without further ado, I'm going to show you the tent, and I'm going to show you the plants that are growing there. So the plants that I chose for the tent are some of the highlight orchids. I chose some smaller plants that perhaps are recovering, and those plants don't necessarily need to go in the tent, but I kind of am trying to boost them, to let them know, hey, it's summer, maybe it's time to grow. And of course, because of the warmth, what I forgot to mention is that there is more maintenance. My mounted orchids need to be sprayed every day. My Hoyas sometimes need to be watered daily, or sometimes need to be watered every other day, because they are in bark and moss. Semi-hydro plants also dry out a bit faster, not as fast as other plants that are in organic mixes. So semi-hydro can last about 4 days in there, depending on the size of the reservoir. But in all, I think all of the plants are using much more water, and I do think this will make them grow faster. They are using more water, they have more lights, and I will provide more nutrients for them, because I think they will start to grow more actively than under my regular LED lights. Anyways, now I'm going to show you all the plants that I chose to put in there. You will see how big they are, and then we will come back to them in 3 months and we will see if they grew. I do hope there are no pest issues, because that will put the damper on the growth. So I hope there will be no pests. I hope we will just have a wonderful growing season, or not season, 3-month period, without any other issues, except that I need to water more, and I need to make sure that plants don't get burned under the light. Let's go and see the tent. Before we start with the tour of the tent, I just wanted to show you the buds on my Hoya latifolia that are about to open, and also the peduncle on my Hoya lacunosa that is now sitting next to the tent. Now this is how the tent looks like. There are many plants inside. I didn't count, so I don't know how many exactly are inside, but I think around 50, counting the propagations on the lower shelves. And I also discovered that you can hang plants on the construction of the tent. I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to do this, but if you are in need for space, this is something that you can do, and I do plan to hang a couple of more plants like this. And of course, as always, I did decide to hang some plants on the side of the shelf, because I think this is a great way to save space. It is 22.1 degrees Celsius on the outside of the tent and 72% humidity. It is slightly warmer inside the tent, and it gets around 25 to 26 degrees Celsius in there. This is my Hoya obovata, and it is zip tied to the shelf because there wasn't enough space on the level of the shelf, so I had to zip tie the trellis to make sure it doesn't tip over. This is another way you can put plants inside. This is Hoya cortesi, and I mentioned this Hoya before on my channel. It usually grows on my Hoya shelf outside of the grow tent, and it does really well like that. I never had any issues with this Hoya. But I was just curious to see how it will do inside the tent, if it will branch out more, maybe it will grow faster, maybe it will even flower. I do adore this Hoya and I hope it does really well outside of the tent. This is Alocasia Beginda Silver Dragon, and I actually had a larger one and I killed it pretty fast, so I thought, why not get a smaller one? I'm sure not going to kill this one, right? These are some of my propagations in Ziploc bags: Philodendron gloriosum, Melanochrysum, Verrucosum, and others. Now I have two Cattleyas on this rock here. They grow on a tiny piece of moss, and the small one is actually zip-tied because it didn't have a good root system when I put it on the rock, but the big one is safely on the rock, and they are actually enjoying it quite a lot more than I thought they would. This is a Hoya I purchased as Hoya odorata, but I do think the correct name is Hoya sembra. It could be Hoya iris marie, and we will know more when this plant flowers. It did grow a lot since I got it, and there are a lot of roots developing in Ceramis. I also have another Cattleya in the tent, and this one is in semi-hydro. This Cattleya never bloomed for me since I purchased it, so I do hope now under the stronger light it will bloom again. This is Hoya lacunosa with silver leaves. It pushed out a couple of new leaves that are quite larger than the ones it had before, so in my conditions, in new conditions, the leaves do look different. I don't know the exact name and I'm not going to try to guess it. I'm just going to call it Hoya lacunosa with silver leaves. And just a small digression in form of my Homolomina. I bought this plant last year and it was in pretty bad shape, but now it has recovered and I just love the extra light that it gets from the tent, and a couple of more Hoya lacunosa peduncles because I'm obsessed. Now this is Hoya waimaniae from Borneo, and this only had one leaf when it arrived and one node. It didn't arrive very well, but we can see it's pushing out a new vine and I hope it does well in the tent. And this is my nemesis. This is Vanda that lost its root system. There is a story related to that, but I do hope it does better under high light. This is Phalaenopsis pulcherrima 4N, and it just started to push out a new leaf, so I hope it grows better inside the tent. I didn't have a lot of luck with this plant. And this is a Neophanetia that you saw hanging on the side of my shelf. It's quite a small one. It was a gift, but I still love it because I think it looks adorable. Now this is my Hoya Carey, and on this top shelf I keep some of the higher light orchids and higher light Hoyas. Also, my Hoya densifolia finally started to push out new vines. I did receive this plant with root mealybugs, so I had to root the plant again, but I'm very happy to see that it's doing much better, and now it is hanging on the construction of the tent. I did decide to put some Hoyas that are not necessarily highlight Hoyas on the top shelf because they're small cuttings like this Hoya stoniana. I think they're far away from the light, so I don't think this will be an issue. And also I put my Hoya Carey with silver splash, Hoya waiatii, and I will talk about these a bit later individually. And a bit of a close-up on the new growth of my Hoya densifolia. I do hope it takes off now and starts to grow a bit faster because now it is established plant. Again, it had root mealybugs, so I had to root the plant again. And a bit of a close-up of my Neophanetia. I think this is Neophanetia falcata. We will know more when it blooms. I don't think it's anything else than that because it was a gift. And Tillandsia that I grow attached to the piece of wood. I think this is part of grape wine. Now my Hoya imperialis that has recovered immensely since I did 30 days of Hoya. It is in semi-hydro. It actually is not supported on a trellis. I don't think this one needs a trellis necessarily. And I do have some other plants near it. I have a Dischidia oinantha, I believe. My friend brought this back from Thailand as a gift, and I think it's doing really well. Another orchid that didn't do terribly well for me is this cross of Esconcentrum miniatum with Phalaenopsis pulcherrima. I do think I keep it a bit too dry, so I think maybe I should water it a bit more, but I hope it starts to grow a bit faster now that it has more light than before. Despite this being the second level of the shelf and quite a bit away from the light, you can see that these plants still get plenty of light, so this is by no means low light, and I do hope they do well and light bounces off from that reflective cover of the tent. Now this is my Hoya Carey. I have two Careys spotted together with two different variegations. The one that I'm holding now, it has inner variegation that it's not very visible, so I hope it comes back under this higher light. I did cut it back a bit and it has a new growth point, and this one is the one with variegated margin. That one didn't lose the variegation as much, so I think that one should be fine as is. My Houstoniana in Ceramis still didn't start to grow. I think it is focused on growing roots, and you can see there are plenty of roots in Ceramis, so I do hope that it will start to grow a bit faster now, and I'm trying to hydrate it a bit more. I might have underwatered it. This is Dendrobium lodiguesi, and this plant didn't bloom for me. I mounted it on this rock. I read that it needs quite low temperature in order to bloom, so I don't expect it to bloom inside the tent. Now this is Hoya Wayeti in semi-hydro. I think I potted this in one of my repotting videos. It is starting to grow, and I think it should enjoy the higher light level on the top shelf, because this is a Hoya that I do believe likes a bit more light. Now this is Hoya Kerry with splash. You can see some of the leaves have more splash, some of them have less splash, and I do think this just depends on the amount of light you give it. So maybe in higher light this leaf will be covered with more splash. This is variegated Hoya compacta that I'm rooting for my friend, and it is in perlite that needs to be potted really soon, because you can see there is algae buildup because of the extra light. It did root, so I think after this video I will have to pot it and possibly even hang it so there is more room in the tent. The next plant that I have is this Orynchostylis gigantea, and it has very dusty leaves. I did clean them after this, you have to believe me. And I think this is a higher light orchid, so I do believe it will do really well under the light. And this Neostylus that tried to bloom a couple of times for me, but again, I think I keep it a bit too dry, so I have to water it more. But it is also one of the orchids that will enjoy higher light, so that's why I decided to put it in this tent. The next Hoya is also a bit of a challenge. This is Hoya lauterbachii, and the reason why it's challenging, it likes to be very hot and it likes high light, so I think it should do really well in the tent. This is the dimmer on the LED light. I keep it at 75%, but I had to dim it down for the video. One thing that I did notice is that the Mars sticker does come off, and I think it's because of the heat. So I think I will remove the sticker at one point because it will annoy me like this. You can see some of the specifications of the light on the back. It was a bit of a challenge to hang it from the construction of the tent, and you can see here I kind of looped these hooks around the construction of the tent to get it up there. This is the reflective cover. They say this is kind of specialized in these squares, so it should bounce off more light. This is my Hoya imperialis. It did grow a lot once again since I rescued it. It only was left with a couple of these yellow leaves, and this was 3 months ago, so I decided to root it again, and I put it in semi-hydro, and it is quite sizable now. I do have to take care of the algae that is accumulating, but I think it is doing really well for anyone who is struggling with their imperialis. This is my favorite. This is Hoya undulata that spent 40 days in shipping. It did produce a new leaf that I think looks gorgeous. It's still not a mature leaf. It needs a bit more time to harden off, but I think it is looking gorgeous. And you can see the splash is a bit more pinkish on this leaf, or more purple. And also a new vine is forming, so we can expect more new growth. Now this is another Hoya that I thought would die. This is Hoya species SR 2009-005. I hope I got that name correctly. And this Hoya also arrived with just one leaf, and I managed to root it, but I didn't really think it would grow because I think the node was affected, but after some time it managed to push out a vine, and you can see it's still growing. This is Hoya sigillatis that also did really well outside of the tent, but I just wanted to put it inside just to get a bit of that reddish color. So I don't really want to stress it, but I just want a bit of that purplish reddish hue because I think it looks lovely, especially on the new leaves. They look gorgeous with that silver and that red. And of course I hope that maybe it will bloom a bit faster under this light because it is higher light than it used to have before. And it is doing really well. It actually, I think I'm noticing that it's growing a bit faster in the tent, and I think that's because it is warmer and there is more light. and you can see this is one of the new vines that it is pushing out. Now this is Hoya lobby, and this one is also a bit finicky. For some reason it gets these yellow spots on the leaves, and I did notice that when it's in lower light it doesn't get them. So a couple of the older leaves, not these on the bottom, I received the Hoya with those leaves, and you can see there is a lot of yellow spotting. I think it was kept in high light at the growers, but the new leaves, when I moved it to the tent, they got a bit of yellow spotting. So I do think this is related to the amount of light that it is getting. So I will try to keep it a bit away from the light, because honestly I don't like how this looks. Some people might like it, I don't at all. This is a small cutting of Hoya verticillata that grew one new leaf. I'm not sure it's verticillata actually, I do think it's verticillata, but of course I will hold on with IDing this plant until it flowers, so it may take a couple of years until we know for sure. I did not have enough Ceramis, so I put some rocks in there, and you can see the roots actually attached to the rocks, and I think it looks quite cool. I don't think the plant minds this at all. It seems to be growing really, really well. Now this is Tilomnia scandens, and you can see it is also on a piece of rock. I mounted it on this piece of rock, and I spray it every 2 or 3 days depending on the conditions. I basically wait for the moss to dry out, and I can say that it is loving this setup. Roots are attaching to this rock, and I think it looks much better than on a piece of wood. At least to me it looks a bit better like this. Now the next plant is Phalaenopsis gigantea, and it is a small gigantea. It had a couple of baby leaves that did yellow and died back, but I think that it looks okay to me. I think the roots are healthy, the plant is healthy, but it's just not a super fast grower. This is Philodendron subhestatum that I cut about a month ago in one of my videos, and you can see it actually rooted in this moss and perlite, so it's time to pot it. This is Phalaenopsis violacea malaysia crossed with Violacea indigo, and it does have a tiny flower spike. I hope it will grow and give me flowers soon. I cannot wait for this. I'm very excited about it. This is Hoya endawensis, and it is pushing one new vine, and I think the other vine is finally continuing to grow. It has a couple new leaves. This is a very slow grower for me. I hope that in the tent with more light and more warmth, it will grow a bit faster. Now these are some of the cuttings that I have on the bottom shelf. They don't need a tremendous amount of light while they are rooting, and I had to use some duct tape to stabilize them in the glass jar, and I also have some cuttings in the back. This is my Hoya globulosa, and I was amazed. It started to do really well, and then the tip of the vine died back. I don't really know why this is happening. It doesn't have red spider mites. It is watered. It did go through a bit of a drier period, so maybe that is why the tip died back. I'm a bit frustrated with this plant. It takes a long time to grow, it seems, at least for me, but maybe in the tent it will grow faster because of extra warmth. This is Syngonium that I previously showed to you. I just decided to put it in the tent. It needs to be potted. This is Hoya verticillata EPC 997 stable pink splash. The splash looks silver, but on the new growth the splash will actually look pink, and over time it will fade to the silver. Of course, with more light there will be more splash. And the last plant is Hoya species Ganongating. I think when I received this plant it had a couple of nodes only. It didn't have this many for sure, and now I think I see a new vine coming up here. I did tip it over the other day and it lost some bark. I do have to put some fresh bark there. You can see the new leaves. They look absolutely gorgeous, and it is growing a bit faster now actually. I love the contrast between the veins and the colors of the leaves, and under higher light they will get reddish. I think maybe in the tent I can achieve this. Under my 36 watt light that didn't happen, but you can see the size. It grew 4 or 5 new nodes and plenty of new leaves, so I think this Hoya is liking my conditions. I cannot wait to see it bloom, but to be quite honest with you, if it didn't bloom I wouldn't be mad. I'm just enjoying the beautiful foliage on this Hoya. And at the end, you can see how the tent looks like when it's kind of empty. So there is quite a bit of space there. That would be all for today. I hope that you enjoyed looking at the plants that I have in the tent. And once again, we will see in 3 months how much they grow. Thank you all so much for watching the video. And I do have to say that this video would not be possible without you. Mars would not reach out to me if there weren't so many people watching the channel. And I think we passed 4,000 subscribers today. I'm incredibly happy because of that. I hope that you are enjoying the content. It means so much to me that a lot of you are watching, liking, and commenting. If you have some questions about the light, please leave them down in the comments below. Or if you have questions about some plant that you saw in this video, I will try to reply to them to the best of my ability. Again, it's only been 6 days since I had this light, so I don't really have any results yet. But I think in a couple of months, or maybe even in a month, who knows, maybe we will see some improvements in a month. I have high hopes. I should have set a realistic expectation, and here my expectations are completely unrealistic. I expect magic. Maybe that's not completely fair, but we will see what we can expect from $140 LED grow light. Done. I don't have anything else to say. Ran out of words. Who knew that was possible? All in all, once again, have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye! I would like to take some time to thank my patrons. A big shout out to my $5 patrons. Betsy Begonia, Bonnie Harris, Hoyas and Whatnots, Kathy L, Kelsey Jager, Mary, Melissa Walker, Nicole Ferranti, Vicky Dingler, Therese Gottman, Zlokop Niponi, and Anonymous. I would also like to thank my $3 patrons, Angelina Farnan, Becca Panyard, Brianna Phillips, Liz Martinez, Inna Home, Nikki, and Ringlov. And a thank you to my $1 patrons, Frihetian Ask and Jacinta. Thank you all so much for your support. It truly means the world to me, and it really makes me happy to know that all of you are enjoying my content so much. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and see you soon.